Let's go.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. And we have got a very, very special show in store for you tonight. If the backstage chat was anything to go by, anyway, it's going to be positive tonight, I am telling you. And we have a very, very special guest joining myself, Sam, and Dan. We have the social media TikTok sensation that is Amy. AVFC. How are you doing, Amy? Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
All good. Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Do you say that to every guest you have, by the way?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Pleasure's all mine. I could be in a better mood, to be honest, but I'm finally feeling a bit better after the game the other day. Finally.
Yeah. Well, as I said, if anyone had seen our show on Sunday, myself and Kev were... Well, I was just ranting. Kev was trying to make me feel a little bit better. But I did find it slightly cathartic. So, yes, it was good, and I finally got over it. But, yeah, we were saying when I think you were looking to agree to come on to the show to discuss Aston Villa, I think we're in a bit of a better stage of the season, a better state. And how are you feeling right now about Aston Villa and, I guess, about this game coming up on Wednesday night against Chelsea?
Well, I think the problem is, if you'd have said to me where we are in the league now before the season, especially those first 5 games of the season, I would have been like, brilliant, fantastic, overachieving, Champions League is ours, blah, blah, blah. But I feel really flat. I feel really demotivated. I'm a very positive fan, and I'm always trying to sort of reiterate, like, spread positivity each and every week. This is the first time in ages I've struggled with that. I am picking myself up. Like I said, so these past few days, I actually think, I'm sure we'll go into it, tomorrow's winnable now. But it took me like a few extra days to sort of get into that mindset. So how am I feeling as a fan? Deflated, underwhelmed, and angry as well, which I think is completely valid. But I'm trying to see the bigger picture. So, yeah, still being as positive as I can.
Yes, good. Sam, great to have you back on, mate. And how are you feeling ahead of tomorrow's game? Kev was trying to put me in a bit more of a positive frame of mind after that Wolves debacle, Leeds draw, Bournemouth draw, Brentford defeat. And he was saying that it'd be typical Aston Villa to go and beat Chelsea. Do you think that could be the case?
Well, can I just start off by saying that you've never described me as a social media sensation, and I have over 100 followers.
Oh, here we go.
Can I just put the record straight? Yeah, do you know what? I'm with Kev on that. I don't know why, but it seems so Villa to lose to Wolves when we've got a 41-point gap, and draw to Leeds and lose to Brentford and everything else, and then go and beat Chelsea and Man United at the same time. We have historically, like over the last season or two, we kind of always feel like we miss opportunities, don't we? When results go our way and we can capitalize, it feels like we never do that. I feel like this season we did at times where we were picking up points and the bigger teams or whatever, the more traditional elite clubs were dropping points. And even sort of towards us in this last recent stretch where they were drawing, we were drawing. So we weren't really capitalizing, but we weren't losing ground either. So it's just been a shitty couple of weeks, isn't it? It's just been a horrible, horrible February. There's obviously been it's been made to look worse with, like, you know, the success of Marlon in Roma and even Gesand at Palace, who looked like he had never kicked a football in his life when he was playing at Villa, and now all of a sudden he's a number 10. I didn't know that. He's a number 10. He can score goals. He can play football. I even saw him do a step over, which is really good. So yeah, it's I think it's been made to feel to sort of feel worse than it is. And we were just in such a positive frame of mind, and we were winning every week. And now, obviously, kind of crashed back to reality. But I'm hoping that we can kind of get through this stretch until we can get Tielemans back properly and begin back properly. I hope that we can keep pace in the Europa League. And I actually think towards the back end, the final stretch of this season, I think you'll see Villa rejuvenate themselves like they did at the start of the season.
Yeah. Let's certainly hope so, and let's hope it does kickstart against Chelsea. But Dan, you generally move into the more positive side of things where possible.
I was positive.
That was really positive.
I was really positive.
You made me think that would be terrible.
It doesn't have to be. It always about you, Sam. I'm trying to link it into the question I'm going to ask Dan. That's twice you've jumped in.
Sorry. The first time you asked me a question,
I wasn't making a point about you being negative. I'm saying that Dan is generally on the positive side of things, and leaning into that. Villa have been on these runs before where they've lost multiple games, like we saw the start of the season where we couldn't score a goal. We saw last season where we went on a couple of dodgy spells. We saw even the season when Emery first came in, where I think we lost 3 or 4 games in a row. I think it was Arsenal, Leicester, maybe one or two other teams that we lost to, and now I've lost Dan.
Don't expect me to jump in now, Rick.
Amy, you can jump in. Well, we've seen these runs before, and I think Unai's hinted at that in his press conference, whereby he will keep going with the players, he'll keep trusting the players to turn it around. So, can you see, Amy, a potential? Oh, here's Dan back. Can you see a potential where this run can come back, Dan, where we can turn it around? And are you confident that this could be the chance for Villa to do it on Wednesday against Chelsea?
Yeah, I think Amy touched on it, and we've spoken about it a lot, that when we had that sort of 4 or 5 game run at the start of the season, it really was like people were questioning, as Emery sort of reached the end at Villa, can we stay up? Have we got enough to stay up? Then we went on this run, which, if you'd said it, those 4 or 5 games, we'd go on a 14-game winning run, people would have sort of said you're in dreamland. But I think it's certainly not out of the question. I think the I suppose struggle from a Villa fan side of the fence is that the likes of United have gone on this run, which has seen them close that 11-point gap, and you sort of we had such a big gap, and you're looking over going, we've built up enough of a buffer. Liverpool have started picking up results. United obviously went above us on Sunday. So I think as Villa fans, having followed Villa, all of us, for long enough, you always sort of err on the side of caution, thinking, okay, have we had our golden patch of the season, and are we going to win another game again in 2026? But I think these are the sorts of games that it would. I think Amy and Sam touched on. It wouldn't surprise me if Villa could pull a result out of the bag. I think it's after Friday night, though. A result like that seems a bit hard to come by because of how poor we were. And then you're looking at us. The frustrating thing, I think, from a Villa fan's point of view, is if we go and get a result tomorrow night, there'll be questions. Well, why didn't you do that on Friday? Why didn't you do it against? And that is the frustration of being a football fan, not just Villa, because we know this is exactly what Villa are like. It's not just this season; it's years gone past. But I just think if they can get a win against Chelsea, they've got a good. Is it 11 days then? I think until United. There's
got
a good
Lille, obviously, in the Europa League.
Before that, there's a bit of a gap, and I think on the flip side of that, with United, they're on this sort of like their purple patch, which they probably haven't had for a long time. And they said on the commentary at the weekend, United have got absolutely no distractions. They're out of every single trophy. They just have league games to concentrate on. And I think if you give me top 5 finish now, I'd absolutely take it, because I would have taken it after the first 4 games. But I think that's where United probably have got the the hand over us in that they have no distractions and they've got a pretty much full squad. So yeah, I think tomorrow's a massive game, and certainly a game, if we can get a result, we can go on a little run, hopefully.
Yeah. Amy, just in terms of approach, like how do you see Villa approaching it tomorrow? And what do you want to see from Aston Villa in their approach to this game tomorrow night?
It's quite easy. Tammy Abraham, to begin with, is the first thing I want. I think Unai's got to change the lineup, mainly because he's under so much pressure and he keeps starting Watkins. And I think it's nice how loyal he's been to him. But when Tammy's come on, he's actually made a difference. Obviously, Wolves we don't have to talk about Wolves that much, do we? But overall, you can actually see that he's hungry and capable of scoring. Watkins misses the opportunities, takes too many touches. Do I want him to come good? Yeah, I do. But we can't wait around for that. So first and foremost, the lineup is really important. The approach of who we start in itself is absolutely paramount. But to be honest, my not confidence, but the chances of us winning are higher for me because of the Chelsea team that we're playing. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of Chelsea fans because they came on my podcast, not because I like to just be the random one amongst a random group of Chelsea fans. And one of them described tomorrow's game as two bald men fighting over a comb. And I just loved that. I just thought that's such a good way of putting it, because it's going to be scrappy. Both teams need the win. We're an advantage because Neto is suspended as well. I just think tomorrow is more doable than Wolves. I feel like we had, it was a bit of a mind game when it came to Wolves. But I don't know about you guys. I did predict 2-0 to Villa to be forever faithful. But
yeah,
I actually didn't think we'd win that. And I said before the Wolves game, I felt more confident going to the Chelsea game than the Wolves game. So I think our advantage is Chelsea's wobbles lately and their ability to drop points, and what I believe is an urgent time for us to win a game. And it's urgent for them as well. They need to. But I just think we actually need it more, and we're under a lot of pressure. So the lineup needs to change. And I think as long as we can actually approach that pressure okay, and we don't bottle it, because I do feel like we have been a little bottle jobby over the years, the whole lifetime, it's totally winnable.
Yeah, I think there's certainly some lineup changes are needed. But also, Sam, I said this on Sunday to Kev, I want to see Villa go out and put it on the opposition for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, they keep saying about we need the crowd with us. You know, he's referenced we don't want we can't have Super John McGinn in the game against Chelsea, but we need the Super Villa fans or the Super Holte Hub or something like that. But I also feel like the players need to set the tone from the off. And I think when they're doing that, playing across the back, and you know, it's Mings and Konsa, or Mings and Torres and Konsa, you know, having the most touches in the game, and they're lulling the opposition into false insecurity. That's not getting the crowd on the feet. I want to see Villa going at Chelsea in the first 20 minutes and getting off to a good start, getting the crowd on side. And that's what I think the attitude needs to be up for it as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't have to be the one to make the point about certain personnel changes, so which is nice on today's pod. But I'm with you, and Stan Collymore said this on Twitter actually in a really, really long-winded way when he was referencing the like atmosphere at Villa Park, because they were talking about those fan groups and fan advisory boards to like try and get the atmosphere going. And he said in layman's terms that, you know, if you want the crowd on side, you need to play exciting football. And I'm completely with you. And I feel like the Wolves game and the Leeds game as well, to a certain extent, I feel like we didn't really start playing until like the second half. And I feel like the games recently have been in a lull until the subs come on. And then you're kind of expecting the subs to change your game and improve the atmosphere. And more often than not, they do. Like Barkley did a really good job with that against Leeds. And then obviously Tammy came on against Wolves. And I know that we didn't score and get the result that we wanted, but I'm 100% with you. I think I've said this countless times on this podcast. I think we always struggle against the teams at the lower end of the table because of the way they play against us. We struggle with that low block and that high press, that combination of low block and high press, we really struggle with the personnel that we have to break teams down when they've got 11 men behind the ball, 11 men in the box. Chelsea are not going to play like that against Villa. They're going to come out all guns blazing, and that puts space in behind the defenders. It puts space in behind for if Ollie Watkins is playing. And I've noticed that actually when he does bring Tammy on, he doesn't even bring him on for Ollie. He plays them together. I've seen that over the last couple of games. So if it is going to be like a Tammy and Ollie combination with Ollie kind of drifting over to the left a little bit, there's going to be space in behind for him to capitalise. There'll be space in behind for Morgan Rogers to do his thing. And what I really want to see tomorrow, I think the real show of intent, ironically, will be at left back. I think if you see Digne there, you'll see that we're more concerned about defending than we are attacking. And if you see Ian Maatsen there, you think he's going for it, because Ian Matson's going to be on the overlap. That left back position is going to be exposed somewhat. Luckily, we don't have Pedro Neto to contend with because he got a fancy yellow card. I'm still not sure what for yet in that Arsenal game. But I think the personnel makes the difference, and it kind of sets the tone of the fans and the atmosphere before the game even. Once you see that team sheet and you see the players you want to see, I think that it's gonna lift the spirits of the team. But I think the best thing is going to be results. Results breed, good feelings, good vibes, confidence in the team. So I reckon if we can just go there, hell or high water, whatever kind of win you can get tomorrow, just take it. And that's what I'm hoping to see at least.
Yeah. Steve says Martinez with his foot on the ball for 30 seconds won't get the crowd going. Andy said the team performance is dictating the crowd atmosphere. Also says the problem is our tempo. We encourage the opposition to grow in confidence. So I think generally people agreeing with us that Villa need to sort of set that tempo, get the crowd going. Dan, do you feel like, and I think Amy's alluded to it as well, like the way that Chelsea might play might suit Villa a little bit more? Like, we keep talking about teams that play the low block, essentially defensive teams. Villa don't generally play too well against them because they pack the middle, they close out space for Morgan Rogers, etc., etc. But with Chelsea, maybe them needing to win the game, wanting to go out and attack. I think they've scored multiple goals, particularly in away games since Rosini's come in. So they will go out on the attack, but they will leave more space in behind. That could suit Aston Villa.
Yeah, I think there's so many factors that will obviously affect how we approach the game, but we need to be, I think, both Sam and Amy, and you have mentioned, I think we need to, as much as Chelsea might bring the game to us, we need to take the game to them. And I think that the game under Emery that really sticks out in terms of us absolutely flying out the blocks is when we beat Brighton 6-1 at Villa Park. I think we were 4-0 up inside at 35 minutes or something. And Brighton during that season were absolutely flying. I'm pretty sure they're in the Europa League, and I can't remember if that was that sort of in the sort of few months of the back end of that first season or in his first full season. But that's the first game that springs to mind when we've actually gone out absolutely hell for leather for the first 25-30 minutes and put the team to this, or maybe Newcastle at home last season when I am still there.
We can still hear you.
When the infamous Ollie Watkins, I think he hit the bar inside the first 2 minutes, and I think we were 2 or 3-0 up inside the first few minutes. But we need the performance breeds the atmosphere, and actually, as you say, Chelsea may play in that open format, which allows us to maybe get at their defence. And a few Villa fans are saying Chelsea played well on. Was it Sunday they played Arsenal, and they did play all right, but there were also quite a lot of gaps that Arsenal probably could and should have scored a lot more, and certainly set pieces they look pretty shaky. I'm not saying we look like a brick wall at our own defending set pieces, but I think we need to get at them. There are going to be spaces. There's obviously a few absentees for both teams that have been crucial players this season so far. So yeah, I think whatever that Chelsea fan said to Amy about the battle of, was it two two bald blokes in a comb. Yeah, that's a great saying that. But yeah, I think one of the two teams, I think because there's so much pressure on both teams to try and win, Chelsea to close the gap on us to try and extend that gap. I think it's going to be a game of chess, but I don't think it's going to be two teams that certainly sit back and wait for the other one to make the first move.
Yeah, agreed, mate. A few comments coming in. John Steele said, we won't be facing a low block and we won't own possession. We do well in those conditions. Michael said he'll take a good performance for starters with some fight. And Steve says he thinks Onana will finally step up and score tomorrow. So, Amy, you've discussed Tammy, or you certainly wanting Tammy to get a start tomorrow, whether that's instead of or alongside Watkins. Any other sort of changes in personnel that you want to see? And do you see Unai making those changes or being bold like I guess we maybe want him to be?
Well, I did think the changes would have been made for the Wolves game. So I was surprised that Tammy didn't start for that game, particularly after the Leeds game and the impact that he had when he came on. Bailey's not been very good, has he? So Sancho. And I think Barkley's actually been very, very... I'm not really going to judge the Wolves' performance too much. But Barkley was great, as you said, when he came on against Leeds. So maybe him instead of Buendia. Because I think Buendia used to be a very good super sub. But was it the Spurs game? I can't remember if he started that one. Spurs away. I went there, so I should remember it.
Spurs away.
He scored.
He might have come out. He definitely came against Fulham at home and kick-started that.
Yeah.
When we needed that win.
Yeah, and this season, I think he's just been really outstanding, but just maybe recently not so consistent. So would it be such a bad thing to drop a player that's not so consistent, to give him that fight? Because I do think he's got a lot of fight. He wants to play. When he's taken off, he looks angry about it. So, yeah, I'd probably start Barkley, to be fair. But Tammy's just my main concern. I think in the interest of listening to the fans and getting it right with the fans, I think Tammy has to start. And I would bench Watkins as well. I wouldn't play them together at the front. But yeah, I just wanted to make a point as well, because I definitely have underlying ADHD and this is what I do. But it's quite funny, we were saying about how we need like a really strong start. Totally agree with that. But it was only, a month ago that we would concede. And most of this season, we've come back from like in the second half. And we concede, and I'd be like, well, we'll score another 2. And it's just funny how that's changed so much. I know, obviously, our midfield being wiped out by injuries is the reason for us underperforming. But it's almost like that sort of mentality that we had has just completely evaporated. And I quite liked that, because that was not very Aston Villa of us. From my lifetime watching the Villa, we've never been the kind of team where our heads drop when we concede. But sort of last few years, it's been more exciting. And again, I just kind of feel like we've gone back in time. But yeah, sorry for answering 15 questions at once.
No, that's absolutely fine. And yeah, I mean, we lamented so many times on this pod, Sam, about Villa's lack of mentality as soon as we went 1 goal down and we couldn't come back. And then this season, certainly a trait under Unai Emery as well, where we've sort of stayed calm and stayed relaxed and got back into the game. He's made key substitutions at key times to bring us back into the game, which makes it even more bizarre at the moment that he doesn't seem to be making the changes that just seem obvious to everyone. Like, Tammy is absolutely chomping at the bit. Tammy seems to be the inspiration that we've kind of needed at this point in the season. And yes, we haven't signed the standard of player like Rashford and Asensio like we did last season, but I mean, Tammy, as I've said before, has done more in the last 40 minutes of games that he's played than Ollie has done for most of this season. He's bringing players into the game. He's alive in the box. He's leading players. He's shouting at people. He's telling people where he wants them. And it just seems really bizarre that he's not picking him. And then the other point I wanted to make, you certainly comment on that, but the other point I wanted to make is I just want that midfield to step up. And I don't know if it can. I don't know if Douglas Luiz and Amadou Onana are the ones to step up. I'm really disappointed in Onana at the minute, because I thought he would really be the inspiration for us in that midfield. But if there's ever a night where they need to, it's tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I feel for Onana a little bit, because his performances recently haven't been great. I think overall this season he's been, at times, I said this on previous.
We were watched it at Newcastle. He was unbelievable, wasn't he?
He's been unplayable at times, and I feel like for me the key part that's missing from all of this, the big change is Tielemans, right? And like you know how I feel about Tielemans. I think he's an incredible player, and that's why when Douglas Luiz was sold the first time round, I was fine. You know, we were all asking that question. You know, who's Douglas Luiz's replacement? How are we going to find him? I said, we've got him. He's already here, and I think that Onana is complements Tielemans really well. I think it's the same with Kamara as well. Kamara has always made Douglas Luiz look like a better player. In my opinion, I think their success has always been when they play next to each other. So I don't know if this midfield has that ability to penetrate quickly, and I think that's for me. When I look at Villa, I look at the way that we play. My biggest grievance is how slow we build up, because when we talk about this low block and how much we struggle with it, when we hold on to the ball for 30, 40, 50 seconds. All we're allowing them to do is just get back into position.
Yeah.
And I said this last time we were on the pod, we do the same thing. So Konsa will hold the ball, and if Mings or Torres is on the wrong side of the pitch, he'll hold the ball until they get back into position, and then they'll start playing out. And for me, it's almost anti-football, and I want to see the thing and the style of play that kind of got us the most success this season, which was quick, direct, through the lines, like nice passing. Finding space, taking shots from outside the box, you know, and it wasn't just out of the box goals that we were scoring. We were scoring in the box as well. So it's a combination of different attacking styles and not being predictable for whoever you're playing against. So yeah, for sure, I think that's a big part of it in the midfield. But for me, what I also see as well is if you look at the list of Villa's top scorers this season, that is really worrying, and it makes me wonder how we've actually gotten to this position that we're in the first place. Because we've got our top scorer this season, Morgan Rogers, with 8 goals. Ollie Watkins has got the same. Buendia's got 5. He's third. Donny Marling doesn't play for us anymore. He's got 4. McGinn's got 3. He's not been playing for about 3 months. Matty Cash has got 3. He's our 5th joint highest goal scorer. Anana's got 2. Kamara's got 1, and then it's Tammy. And he's played about 35 minutes. So for me, I'm more worried about where these goals going to come from. I'm not expecting much from Leon Bailey in terms of goal return, because that's never really been his strength. You know, if Ollie Watkins is off form, that's a big problem for us because we need his goals at some point during the season. We always say, you know, he has purple patches, but that hasn't come yet. So for me, the bigger concern is not, you know, who's playing left centre back? Is it Mings or Torres? Is it, you know, it's how do we get forward and how do we create chances to score goals? And right now, I feel like Villa kind of look a bit toothless, but not through a lack of trying. I just don't see where the threat is.
Yeah, well, they need to find something from somewhere tomorrow, certainly. Guys, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I haven't mentioned that tonight. We are actually, still got the 6,500, but we're actually over 6,800. So we're just over 150 away from 7,000 subscribers. So do help us get there. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and keep your comments, keep your questions coming in as well. Dan, on to Chelsea. Because I mentioned the midfield because, as I say, Luiz and Onana against Andre and Joao Gomez on Friday struggled. You know, they're coming up against Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez on Wednesday night. And that is as much as people have criticised the cost of those players. I mean, you talk about two top quality midfielders, really. And then you throw Cole Palmer as an attacking option on top of that as well. We're going to have our work cut out in that midfield area, aren't we, against them? And they've got to be on their game.
Yeah, and I think it's no surprise, given that they're in the Chelsea squad. I think it's got the most number of red cards at this stage.
Yes, nine this season or something. Yeah,
those are the two sorts of players. Both Caicedo and Fernandez are two players that won't be afraid to stick their foot in. And I think that's where I think we've got to keep our heads, because we know that Louise is fond of a rash yellow card. I don't expect an Anna to sort of necessarily get dragged into it, being scrappy and fouls, but that's a sort of midfield where if you had a McGinn in there, he's the sort of player that would not only get the crowd up, because he scuttle his way across the Villa Park pitch and, I don't know, shove his arse into someone and maybe pick up a yellow card. It's that midfield battle that's going to be key. And we've said before that when we had Tielemans, Kamara and Onana, that we weren't really too sure whether there were any other sort of better midfield trios in the league. Obviously, you lose those two, and Louise has had to step in. So that battle is going to be key, and it's one that not only is going to be key going forward, but also defensively, because both Enzo and Caicedo do still like to get forward. So yeah, I mean, they're a bit of a joke of a side in terms of the amount of quality they've got in there, but we've said it before that they are, as individuals on a piece of paper, they've got some absolutely outstanding players. But in terms of as a team, we've seen it in a couple of times. We played Chelsea recently. They just haven't played well as a collective. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough. That midfield battle is going to be key. And as Sam mentioned, there have been times even we were 1-0 down against Wolves and we were holding on to the ball. We were, I wouldn't say we were bossing the play, because it was there was nothing boss about Friday night. But
you're reaching there.
Yeah, we were holding on to the ball and playing it around the midfield, and Barkley and I can't remember who else was at the base of midfield with him. But we were passing the ball around as if we were 4-0 up. So actually, it's not that we can't keep the ball in that midfield and at the back, but actually we need to still do stuff and hurt Chelsea, because again, you take out those two sort of screening players of Enzo and Caicedo. They've got quite a young back line from what I saw on Sunday. They got I think one lad played his first Premier League
game. Sarr, and obviously Chalobah. He had a good game.
Yeah, so there's certainly areas that Villa can penetrate, but I think that's the thing. That midfield battle is going to be key, but they need to make sure when they've got the ball, they actually hurt Chelsea, because it's no good us keeping the ball in our own half for 20, 30, 40 seconds while they completely set back, because they do have, when they're all on form, a very good sort of base of midfield and back line.
Yeah, absolutely. And Amy, a few people in the chat talking about, the centre back and partnership, talking about maybe putting Lindelof back in, maybe putting Pau Torres in midfield. I think Mings maybe had a slight knock on Friday, which meant obviously influenced Unai's decision to put Pau Torres back in. But what would you do at centre back with regards to Villa, and then linking in that with Chelsea? I mean, João Pedro he's quite an elusive player to mark. So is that going to be difficult for say a Tyrone Mings to keep a hold of him, and would that suit more of Pau Torres? What would you do at centre back for Villa at the minute?
My preference is definitely Pau Torres. His composure, the way he plays from the back. I just actually think that I love Mings, but he's a better player. Mings is just prone to individual errors that are quite costly for us. That's my only thing with him. And it's just, I wish it didn't sound so harsh, but we've seen it quite a few times and we just can't, in my opinion, take that risk. Also, when Pau was injured and Lindelof stepped in for him, he was fantastic, didn't put a single foot wrong. So it's kind of like, I would be comfortable with either of them. It's a shame if we drop Mings, but that would be what I would do. And people are saying about Lindelof and Pau going into the midfield. I saw that in the comments then.
Yeah, I don't think that was...
I think about that. Like, it'd be very negative, potentially, like very defensive. But then if Onana's not doing it and he is a bit like Weetabix, like a lot of people say, I don't know. I mean, the midfield, putting a defender in there would be quite bizarre. I'd probably be more inclined to put Bogard in.
Well, I was actually thinking this the other day. We talked about actual central midfielders at the minute are going to engage and try and actually win the ball, because I don't know about you, but against Wolves, I didn't see us winning any tackles. I didn't see us going in to try and win the ball against them, and I feel like at least Lamar Bogard would actually try and engage. Now, whether you partnered him with maybe Onana, it's a tricky one, because I don't know. I'm not too sure what Douglas Luiz is offering us at the minute. I just have to be honest.
Well, I have to speak on Dougie, because I actually am a big Dougie fan. And whilst I think he's been a little bit off it, the one thing I can say from being in the Holte End and watching the game, this is the things that you don't see on TV.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that passion. Every time he's taking a corner, he's like hyping the fans up. You say you want to go in and start strong and create an atmosphere, he should be starting in that team just for that alone, because he really wants it. He loves this club. And I know it's not been great, and you can see the difference of how much better he is with the likes of Kamara previously. And obviously Yuri's a fantastic, we're missing so many key players, yes. But he actually has that fire that I feel like a lot of players aren't showing us. And like I said, I feel like it's not really displayed on TV. But I've seen it in the flesh, just the way he is with the fans and how bad he wants it. And that first game was his first game against Brentford, was it?
Yes.
I can't remember. Before we conceded, I thought he looked great. I was like, Dougie is back. And I just feel like it's all a psychological battle with our whole team. I think one win, a good game, relatively controlled. I don't care how we win it. We could win it ugly, whatever. I think that would be the change and the difference. It's almost like this sort of negativity looms over us, hence the start to the season. And it's players like Dougie that I think do feed off the fans and feed off the vibes. And we haven't been giving that. They haven't been giving us that, but we haven't been giving them it. It's all kind of like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think Dougie should start. And I actually think that when he gets going and when we get going, it's actually going to be a beautiful thing to watch. I was gutted to see him leave Villa. I was back when he left.
I mean, I liked Dougie for a time, but I mean, me and Sam had many a discussion about Douglas flattering to deceive Luiz. But yeah, I think maybe if he did a few more tackles instead of trying to get the whole thing going, I'd maybe appreciate it a bit more. But I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Maybe he's scared to get injured.
I'm not giving it to you, Amy. I completely disagree.
No, I stand by it, and he's going to have the game of his life tomorrow, and you're going to be talking to me and saying,
I hope he does. I really do.
Amy, he's not scored a goal since he last played for Villa, actually.
Yeah, it's like 60 games, isn't it?
He didn't really get game time at Juve, though, and obviously neither did he. Look, I know his stats might not speak for themselves, but I see some. I believe in him, okay? And if I can take any positivity, I will right now. And I do think he'll come good.
The positive for us is that Sanchez looked even flappier than Martinez.
Yes,
he does at corners, and we like to see that. We know that Luiz likes to think, I'm going to have a shot here. So if he's going to score a goal, just watch Sanchez from the weekend and just. We've got knowing our luck, we won't get a single corner tomorrow night, and it'll just be a waste. But yeah, if I'm not Luiz, if I was, shoot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Sanchez is any ball at his feet, he's just very, very suspect. He makes rash decisions, so we've got to put a lot of pressure on him. Hammer School says we should wheel Tielemans, McGinn, and Kamara out around the pitch before the game to give the players some inspiration. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. I will come to you for starting lineups and for predictions in a second too, because we'll cover some other little subjects across the Villaverse in a second. So, what would you do then for tomorrow, Sam? Are you thinking total changes, like Tammy in, Watkins out, Barkley in, Luiz or Onana out, changes at centre back, 4-4-2 in terms of a change of formation? What would you do for tomorrow in terms of your Villa lineup?
I mean, I'm with Amy. I'd definitely bring Tammy in. I'd take Ollie out and give him some time out of the spotlight. Do you know what I mean? Like, even for his own good, because you're putting him up on an altar to be sacrificed every week. And to be fair, his performances are kind of warranting that a lot of the comments that he's getting. But I'd give Tammy a chance, and I think the problem is with Tammy is if you keep utilizing him for like 8 minutes in a game, you're never going to see the best of him. I think
just don't get it. I just don't get it.
You start Tammy tomorrow, and even if he stinks the gaff out, you give him United, and then you give him the one after that, and you give him the one after that, and just say, look, here's 3 or 4 games, find form, get used to the Premier League again, go out and understand how to play with your teammates. And, you know, this is, everyone talks about Tammy Abraham having been here before. There's one player in this current squad that he's played with before in Tyrone Ming. So, you know, I think you need to, if you're going to make changes, don't just make off the cuff wholesale changes. Make some changes that you actually think, look, this is where we need to strengthen. I don't hate Buendia. I know Buendia has been getting a lot of comments and you know, people saying he's useless. He shouldn't be anywhere near the first 11. I think he brings. Here we go, Rich. This is classic for you. We're back to old ways. I think he brings an energy around the pitch, and he does, like, his movement and his running and his pressing do cause issues. And I think he's got like a great first touch. And we're struggling to kind of like pass it out. And, you know, you mentioned Bogard, Amy. My biggest issue with Bogard is that he can't pass the ball.
Yeah, it's passing out for the back. Yeah, I agree.
Range is so limited.
Yeah.
And the way that we play, and they've seen Bogard do this season already, when he gets the ball in around the box, when we're doing that tiki-taka, let's get it out, play out. God, he's got a sweat on. He does not look comfortable.
We'll look at the goal against Newcastle in the third goal for Newcastle in the FA Cup.
Yeah, exactly. He passed it across. He didn't know. He didn't know where he was going. And I feel. And Amy, we've had this conversation in the Holte Hub channel because Priyanka's a fan of Bogard, and I've said he's hit his ceiling. So I don't know if Bogard would be the answer. I'd love to see Barkley again. I think he brings a quality. Although he doesn't necessarily have the legs, he does bring a quality. And the other thing that I noticed about Dougie Luiz last week is that he's back to pulling out of them 50-50s, Rich. He's back to pulling out of them. And that for me is just, it's criminal at this stage of the season. We have to, not that we want another injury. We've got to.
Is that because we're so petrified of injuries though? I feel like, I wonder if Emery's actually saying to the team, just don't even bother, because we literally will have 0 midfield at this point.
It's a good question. I got a strong mind to say no. He's telling them to put their whole body on the line and give everything they've got. And if we end the season with 9 men, then that's what we do. But I don't know. I'd like to see those wholesale changes. I'd like to see Maatsen. I'd like to see Pau Torres and just go attacking and say, look, our problem is goals. You know, like defensively, we're not horrific. Let's go and get some goals, boys. Go out and play and have some freedom, have some fun. And if anything's going to bring back the vibe at Villa Park, it's going to be a performance like that.
Yeah, I agree. So Maatsen at left back, Torres, Konsa, Cash, midfield of you sticking with Luiz and Onana, or Barkley and Onana, not Luiz.
I'm sorry, Luiz. Luiz has got to come on. I'm so sorry, Amy.
I'm okay with it. I'm
not picking the team. That's the good news.
I think I'd go Barkley over Onana, you know. I don't know.
No, you need that enforcer, especially against Chelsea, like against Caicedo.
When he came on, didn't he? He started on the bench, and when he came on again at Stamford Bridge, I know Ollie got the headlines for the 2 goals, but for me, it was Amadou that changed that game. He just taught Caicedo a lesson, didn't he? He just treated him like he was a little boy.
And it was the other way around. But like when we played Arsenal away, we weren't doing too bad, and then Onana went off, and that was
precisely
a great game. So he is, like you said, he's probably the best player we have in the midfield after the injuries now. So but also Buendia as well. I'm so confused what I think about him at the moment because he's been so inconsistent. Would you have him starting, Rich?
It is a tricky one because if I keep Luiz and Onana as those 2 central midfielders, then I'd probably play Barkley further forward instead of Buendia. It's not necessarily. I think Buendia's had a good season. He's had in terms of contribution, he's had a really good season. But I agree with your earlier statement that Buendia off the bench in certain games can give you that bit of buzz, that bit of energy, that bit of bite to kind of, whether it be with 1-1 and we need to kind of have a bit of spark to get us ahead, or whether it's we're losing and we need someone to change the game a little bit. That's what I think Buendia can do really well. So
I agree with that.
That's potentially what I would do.
Yeah,
I think Sancho's got to start instead of Leon Bailey at the moment. And there's a few people in the chat talking about Alisson, but I just don't think it's a game where it was. I don't think it's a game for Alisson against the Chelsea side. I think it's probably too much of a wild card pick, but certainly to give him more than sort of 5 or 6 minutes at the end for me. And yeah, I absolutely agree that Tammy. I just think it's got to the point where I actually feel a little bit sorry for Ollie Watkins, where he keeps starting him and he's just nowhere near. He's just nowhere near the level at the moment. I actually feel sorry for him because I know that when people see the starting lineup and they see Watkins in there, if he wants to get the crowd on side, then he's not going to be going the right way about it by starting Ollie Watkins. Everyone's going to be like, "Oh no, please no." So yeah, Dan, what about you, mate? And sorry, just to cut in, I believe Wolves are winning 1-0.
Wolves are winning 1-0.
So
they've got a goal through Gomez again. He's scored a couple against us. Are we
going to Joao Gomez? Is that Joao Gomez?
No,
I'd sign him.
Gomez. Rodrigo Gomez.
Oh, Rodrigo. Oh, right.
I mean,
got lots of Gomez's, haven't they?
But I'm thinking, hold on a second, because I know we lost to Wolves and they were 41 points behind us. But that performance against Arsenal, the performance against us, now they're beating Liverpool. Is this just the best comeback in Premier League history from Wolves?
This could be Leicester City all over again.
Yeah,
They're going to win the league next year.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, great stuff. Come on, Wolves. But Dan, yeah, what about the discussion about the starting lineup that we've had?
Yeah,
would you agree with all of us on that point?
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that's said. I think it's I mean, if we were winning, if we were winning games like it was going out of fashion, we wouldn't really be too worried about the starting 11 because you know that whether they started or on the bench, the goals are going to come, and we were probably going to get 3 points. But things when you're in a little rut like we are, you start to step up, whether it's phases of play and bits and pieces, and then when you see the lineup, everyone becomes the best manager, whether it's in the Holte, the North Stand, the Trinity Road. They're like, I would have done this, and I would play.
Yeah, and what you talk about the podcast like that, Dan? And also players that aren't in the starting lineup all of a sudden become brilliant players, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. But I think I'd like to see Abraham start because he said in his interview he wanted to come back to the club. He wants, obviously, everyone who's there, Villa are paying their wages, whether they just play lip service by saying, I want to be at the club, this is the club for me. But Abraham, you can tell that he's trying so hard to G the team up if we're not at the levels that we need to be. He's maybe wavered a bit when he went to sort of Roma and Besiktas, but he knows what it's like to play in front of big crowds, the expectation levels, and he's proved it in leagues elsewhere. Yes, okay, people might say it's only the Turkish league, but he has proved it elsewhere in Europe. He knows where the back of the net is, and he can perform at different squads, different leagues. So I would like to see him play. I think the one thing for me with just going on to Buendia, and I don't mean to single him out, he wasn't the reason that we lost on Friday, but I think the thing that we talk about confidence players, and Ollie Watkins is obviously a confidence player. I think it seemed to be more evident on Friday, certainly being there. I don't know whether it came across on TV, but in the first 5 or 10 minutes, Buendia got knocked off the ball, and straight away his arms. You can tell he's got that South American passion, but I think sometimes that necessarily breeds into the rest of the squad. He's moaning after 5-10 minutes that he's not getting fouls, and then he's running around. Then he commits a foul. Then he's throwing his hands up somewhere else. And I think sometimes when you see that irritation from the stands, you can probably see it on the pitch as well. So I think, I get the passion, and I completely, I love his passion, but sometimes I think that can also have the wrong effect on the rest of the team. So I think it's a difficult one, but I'd like to see probably 2 or 3 changes. And as I say, if those 2 or 3 changes don't work out, at least as fans and Emery can't say, well, I did try something, it didn't work. If we start playing, keeping the same front three, the same what have you, and it doesn't work, people will go, well, why didn't you start Abraham? Why didn't you do this? So, yeah.
Interesting point, actually, that you've made there, Dan. Do you feel, open question to anyone, do you feel as if we've been hard done by with decisions this year? Obviously, no penalties in the whole season. The Cunha penalty from Man United and the red card against Palace seemed really soft, and we just don't seem to be getting those decisions go away. I feel slightly hard done by the refs this season. Is that just me?
I mean, again, football is a game of ifs and buts and maybes, and if we'd have had this and if we'd have had that, but I think the thing that struck me on Sunday, I think when United played, is Harry Maguire within seconds of Cunha going down. Maguire was straight in the referee's face going, you've got to send him off. Well, and I'm not saying, because again, you could start, we're going to become like VAR here and start re-refereeing the game. But there was a whole rule in to say, well, if you go up to the referee and start asking for cards, you should be given a yellow card. But we don't seem to, I'm not to say that I want Villa players to start sort of clambering over the referee, but the United of old always used to do that when it was like Howard Webb refereeing, like 10 United players would surround him and going, you've got to send him off, you've got to do this. Whereas we don't, I like the bite, but sometimes we're a bit too nice and we don't seem to sort of be, I wouldn't say hounding the referees, but whereas some of these other teams are in the referee's face going, you got to give this. And I think the problem with Chris Kavanagh is he gave the penalty on the field, and then VAR has to categorically say, has he made an absolute honker of a decision? Yes, he did. But actually, VAR's really got to find something that overturns it. Whereas I think because of the pressure of the United players or what have you. So, yeah, maybe we aren't getting the decisions that other teams are. But again, that's a complete rabbit run of every game week. But, yeah.
Just kind of like the story of, it's just kind of the story of our lives as Villa fans. We do feel hard done by, but it's nothing out of the ordinary, really. I was really confused about the, was it Brentford when the ball went out of play?
Yes,
Brentford, wasn't it?
That's the one that sticks in my mind.
Yeah, because
push against Tammy.
The ball did go out of play, but why was it not pulled back? Like the amount of time, I know it was like 9 seconds, but like so much happened. I just felt like that was quite unfair. And it felt really like the whole corrupt system was like, actually, no, I found a way to get rid of this goal because we can't have Villa in the big six. It just kind of felt very like, I don't know, they would do anything to just, obviously the ball did go out. I saw it in front of me. I feel like the whole end had a really good view of that, but they really, really could have done something a lot sooner. So that I was really upset about. But I also thought, do I have a right to be this annoyed? Because if I was an opposing fan, and you know what? Anytime Villa fans ever talk about decisions not going our way, someone will mention Hawkeye, and you know what? It shuts me up.
Yeah. You shouldn't be in the Premier League.
That's the only reason you're not in the Championship.
Yeah. But I don't really feel like we've had, like you just mentioned the one there against Brighton.
Forest when Rodgers got pulled back.
Yeah, that was last season, though, wasn't it? That was last season.
Was that last season? That was this season.
Yeah, no, that was at Forest.
Well, if we're going to go back, Nemanja Vidic, Carling Cup final, he should have been sent off.
He should have been sent
off.
He should have.
But I can't think of too many times we've actually got in the box.
I've seen a compilation of
one situation.
I've seen it on Twitter. There's someone's done a compilation. It's like all of the chances that didn't go Villa's way or decisions that didn't go Villa's way this season, and then it just finishes with the Cunha one. And you know, like the circus music at the end. So I think there have been a few. I don't remember them. I think
there was one. Although we scored from the resulting corner, but the Abraham two-handed shove in the chest when he was literally.
That's the one I think.
Yeah.
Brighton, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Brighton. But I can't think of too many. I mean, you can certainly say that Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, you to an extent get more decisions than any other club would, but I can't think of anything that's been anything that I also don't think that we like Dan's mentioned there, I don't think we put enough pressure on the referees. I don't think that, we're up and in cricket when they're going, it's an LBW and they're all screaming at the umpire. I don't think we do that enough to the referees, like in terms of that's a pen, like putting them under pressure a little bit. I don't feel like we do that.
We're not great at putting but doing it in the right way where we don't.
Yeah.
I feel like the only person who really does it is Rodgers, and I feel like he's been hard done by this season.
He's been
a lot of times. It's been
the Everton game. I mean, players that probably should have picked up bookings or second yellows. I think that's a real bad
Arsenal
situation.
as well, wasn't it? Who was it? Mikel Moreno.
Moreno, yeah.
There have been some. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm poking.
James Garner, yeah, definitely. We could, if we sat here for long enough, we'd think of loads by then, wouldn't we?
The Rodgers goal against United last season robbed us.
Well, they always say that VAR stands for Villa are robbed, and I would agree with that. So yeah, we've never, but like they say, it's peaks and troughs. I do feel like sometimes things do go our way as well.
I mean the Newcastle home game in the FA Cup, Dean probably should have been sent off.
I think all of our decisions in one game for the season. Then,
I'll take you back to when Duran got sent off for stepping on. Who was it?
Yeah, Newcastle.
Fabian
Schär. Yeah. I think you're probably right, Amy. Peaks and troughs, right?
Funny enough,
not having a penalty all season in March.
It's absolutely it is crazy. That is crazy.
Wow.
And funny enough, the referee that gave all those horror decisions in the FA Cup game was the referee that did Man U versus Palace, and even Howard Webb, the United fan, said, "Yeah, we got that wrong."
He wants out of the job.
It was a horrendous decision. Absolutely horrendous. Right, let's get score predictions. Amy, you're first. Are you going with your head or are you going with your heart? What are you doing for tomorrow's game against Chelsea?
I always go with my heart. My head is really confused. I feel like it could genuinely be anything, but I'm going to go 1-0 Villa, and that's kind of a mix between both. I actually think we could do it. I don't think we've got many goals in us, so when I say we're going to get a win, it's going to be one goal in my head. Obviously, my heart wants to win, but I actually think it's doable. So I think 1-0 would be actually reasonable.
Take that. And who's getting the goal?
Rodgers. He's due a goal, I think. Roger. Obviously, if Tammy Abraham starts, I'd love that. But I feel like a Rodgers worldie from outside the box or something. I don't know. Could see that.
Yeah. Well, I'd definitely take a 1-0, 100%. Adam isn't feeling very confident. He's saying Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 1. Ross is saying a draw. Kevin is going with your same scoreline, Amy, 1-0 Villa. Rich isn't very confident either. He's saying Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 3 as well. Sam, are you in confident mood for tomorrow?
Yes and no. My head is saying that we're gonna get turned over and we're gonna lose heavily. I'd say 3-0. But my heart, however, is saying that this is a very Villa thing to do and anything's possible. And my heart has faith in Unai Emery. And I think that that's one thing that we should definitely cling on to, is remembering that we have a manager who knows exactly what he's doing and has turned situations around before. So with my heart, I'm going to go 1-0 Villa.
And who's getting the goal, in your opinion?
Ollie Watkins.
Wow.
And do you know why I say it? Because I feel like he obviously likes a goal against Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think he's going to start on the bench tomorrow. I think he's going to come on. He's going to score a goal. And everyone's going to be like, oh, that's why you don't drop Ollie Watkins. It's like, forget the fact that he hasn't scored in 20 games.
And he's going to celebrate like that or something. And
yeah, exactly. And he's going to say to the crowd like this.
His name, yeah.
Well, and that would be the perfect debate starter of, should we have been starting Ollie Watkins? And
he's definitely going to score, pick up a yellow card, and reveal a vest that says "I love Sam Wise."
Yeah. He's just going to go to the camera and start flipping me the bird and be like, "Have that."
I watched your segment on Sky Sports News.
Talk to Jay Bothroyd about that. Yeah, and then when he does his post-match interview on TNT, he's like, I've scored that for Sam because I know he absolutely hates me.
The thing is, I can't lose, because if he scores and we win, then I'm happy. And if he doesn't, then the long-term consequences that we'll have a new striker at some point, and I'll be happy. So you crack on, Ollie. You do whatever you want.
Michael saying 4-1 Villa. Yes, I am deluded, but I prefer that to doom and gloom. Tomorrow is a new day. Great Bongo says 2-1 Villa win, and Ollie is going to score 2 as well. Gary, on the other hand, says 1-1 or 4-1 to Chelsea if Watkins plays. So there we go. Andy says 0-0. PKR MKN 31 says 2-1 Villa if we start Tammy, 2-0 Chelsea if we start Watkins. James said it's going to be a clean sheet. Mark is going very positive, 5-0 to Villa. 1-1 says Sean, 3-1 Chelsea says Evo they. So yes, a bit of a mixed bag, but generally positive. Dan, are you keeping that positivity going?
4-0, 4 Douglas Luiz corners, game over.
After he's turned around to the crowd and gone, come on.
After hyping everyone up and the crowd's going wild.
You should only ever ask them this question.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it would be the most Villa thing to go on and win. I think we will concede. But I'm gonna go 2-1 Villa. But I think we've got to score first to keep the crowd on side. Because I think if we concede first, then it's going to be the groans and the
2-1 Wolves. Sorry.
Oh, 2-1 Wolves last minute.
Yeah, I've just seen it.
Really?
No way.
2-1 Wolves in the 94th minute. Sorry.
Oh my God, this is so good. This is so good for us, by the way. Everyone talking about us, we can be like, well, look what they did to Arsenal, look what they did to Liverpool. Like, Wolves are just amazing now.
But this is the frustration.
This is what football does to you, isn't it?
Wolves will go and win this, even though United are the 8-15. We'll go and might lose 1-0, and Newcastle go and beat United 2-0. And you're like, all of the results that could have gone our way have happened again. But no, I'm still going to stick 2-1 Villa.
I'm glad that was recorded because that was a really super manly reaction from me. I just like the screen painting. That is really good. I'm glad that's documented forever.
I'm going to have to watch this and then just clip that.
Oh,
yes.
don't.
Yeah. We'll say we've got a Wolves fan who's infiltrated the podcast.
I am Villa being in the top 4 fan. That's what I am. And also, if we beat Chelsea tomorrow, we're 9 points clear.
9 points clear, yeah. Absolutely.
9 points clear of 6. Yeah. And then, I mean, I know we're worrying about United and Liverpool, but if we beat Chelsea tomorrow, it really is in our own hands with like 8 games left to play.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to agree with you, Dan. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa. And I think Tammy will score. We've forgot as well, against his old club, he want to prove a point. And we've got a couple of players playing. With Barkley will be potentially playing against his old club, Matson. There's one other. I can't think who it is.
Disassi. No, I'm joking.
I can't think. Tammy, Ross, Ian. Why am I calling by the first names? I can't remember who else it is. But anyway, I'm going to go 2-1.
You got to call him Kevin.
Yeah, actually, Kev. Good old Kev. Tammy will score, and I'll go Morgan Rogers. Yes, definitely. But I've got over Friday. I'm pleased that we've all kind of got over it, and tomorrow's a new day. And I think the way Chelsea approach it will suit us. I think Unai will get one over on Liam Rosinia. I think the experienced manager will come through as well. And I think the fact that it'll be an evening kickoff under the lights, as they say at Villa Park, I think that'll play into our hands a little bit more as well. I think we'll call it a night there. That's we've talked like this. You've talked me into a positive mood, all of you, which is great. Amy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, guys.
No problem at all. Anytime. Where can people find you on your socials? And what have you got? Anything that you're doing? Any videos? Any podcasts that you're doing at the minute that you want to promote?
So TikTok is my main sort of social media for Villa. It's Amy AVFC, as shown here. My Instagram is just my name because I can't have any more social media accounts. That's Amy Rose Finley. And I'd love for you guys to check out my podcast, Match Day Menu, which it involves multiple fans And I'm going to be doing an exciting episode soon. Funnily enough, the last one was a Wolves episode. So Sam, you might want to watch that and put your orange shirt on.
Hey. Accusation, allegation.
That's it now. That's it now.
Yeah, that's me.
Good, great stuff. Like I say, more than welcome any time. Sam, as always, follow Sam at Samwise_UTV on both Insta and
Twitter.
X.
Yeah, I'm too old for TikTok. Apparently, I'm not allowed to get an account. So
there's way older people on there, honestly.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, me.
Only just.
Cheers, thank
They
you.
might die soon, so.
Hey, yeah. Rich, are you on there before you start laughing too much?
I am on TikTok. Yes, I am. Usually ranting, but yeah, I am on there. And Dan is everywhere as well. So follow Dan at the Villa Home. Are you guys at the game tomorrow as well?
I have my ticket. I'm a season ticket holder. The Wolves game did make me because I live in London now, so I have to wake up at 4 a.m. for work the day after. I was like, if I go all that way and get 3 hours sleep and have to work the whole day the day after, and we play like we did, I've talked myself out of it. But it would be very me to sort of just take a half day off tomorrow and go. But no,
yeah.
is the answer.
Oh, Dan, you there?
Yeah, I'll make an appearance. I might
make sure you get that crowd going. Yeah,
I'll be there at the front doing that.
Yeah, you and Douglas Louise get that crowd going. Yeah. Right, I'll be back with a live watch along, so please do get involved in that. First one back for a while, so like I say, get involved in that in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll also hopefully have an instant reaction, a happy instant reaction, and then we'll have the usual match reaction later on in the week as well. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Sam, Dan, Amy, thank you so much for joining. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.